Right. Let me. Here we go. All right, we're live on YouTube. There we go.
Yeah.
All right. So thank you, Monty Weaver, for taking the time to join the K Stream podcast today. I'm pumped to have you on. So we were chatting a little bit before we got started, and I was just kind of letting you know that how I kind of stumbled upon your work. I was, I'm big into like streaming tech and equipment and stuff like that, and I was searching Amazon probably for another piece of equipment to add to the studio or something I likely don't need. But and there you were on one of the product pages, and I saw like your lineup of products and was like, oh yeah, this is the stuff I need. This is stuff I want to learn about. So that's when I first saw you and really enjoyed your work and your reviews of products and all that and wanted to get you on here to talk streaming tech and video, all that good stuff. So, I kind of know you, Monty, as, an Amazon Live influencer, but after I started looking into more of your work, uh, you do a lot. Can you kind of give me give me a sense of, who you are and kind of what you do, what all you do?
Yeah. Well, first off, thank you for having me on your podcast and reaching out to me. It's always cool to have people find you through these different social media mediums. And so, I'm a techie, I'm a digital guy, and what I do has kind of evolved over the last couple of years, especially with everything that's happened in 2020. But I really help entrepreneurs, ministry leaders, small business owners leverage the power of digital technology and help them understand it and actually implement strategies behind it. And one of the strategies is being able to leverage these social media platforms and entrepreneurs and people that are looking to grow and influence. I tapped into Amazon Live last year, and so I saw the platform, introduced it to a couple of people. I said, hey, I think this is going to be something that's really going to be great. It's Amazon and it's live streaming. Those two together just seem like they make sense, even if we don't know what that outlook looks like right now. And so being able to kind of position people and help them grow an audience online using these social platforms and using technologies. I coach, I give people practical things that they can do because I understand that everyone has a life. So not everybody's way of growing and business is all the same. And so just kind of tailoring it for that person in particular. And Amazon is just one of those platforms that I really, really like.
And so, how long have you? So, you're an entrepreneur. You kind of run all of these, or this kind of business of your own. How long have you been doing that?
Yeah, so in 2016 is kind of when I really started thinking about doing this as a business. I got introduced to Periscope. I'm not sure if you use
Yeah, oh
Periscope,
yeah.
yeah.
I
Okay.
used to.
Yeah, used to. Yeah, used to. It's gone now, right? So I got introduced to Periscope and I started following a guy on there, and he was talking about tax liens, and I kind of wanted to learn more about real estate and stuff like that. And then we kind of connected, and he asked me what I did, and I said, I'm in the tech space. I work job, and I do, you know, all things tech, servers, routers, switches, help desk, all that kind of stuff, right? But my fascination was in live stream because I did do some VTC stuff as well. So when I saw Periscope, I was really more interested in the back end of the technology, not so much being the face on the app and talking. I just like the technology.
Yep.
And then when I saw the ability to screen share, I was like, okay, I can use this because I'm not an extrovert. I don't like being on camera, but if I can share my screen, I could teach people how to do things. And he said, you should teach people how to do this. And I was like, for what? I just want to do it for myself and figure it out. And when I decided, okay, I'll teach someone, I did a free webinar, and it was like how to live stream your desktop to Periscope pretty much. And I had 120, 40 some people register. It was crazy. First webinar, and all these people were interested in how do you live stream your desktop. I did not, put two and two together. And so from there, it just kind of took off that the skill sets that I had were, of value in the marketplace, and just been teaching and training ever since.
So you do a lot of classes, right? You do
Yeah.
like, I think it's mastermind classes, and what does that look like? Are you doing like kind of a regular set of courses with like the same group over time, or what do your courses look like?
Yeah, so I do courses based around what I think are popular or things that people should really know about. And then sometimes it's based on like what people are just interested in knowing that I'm really familiar with. So I'll structure courses around that. I took the YouTube journey myself. I'm glad that you're taking the YouTube journey. I started January 2020 with my 150 subscribers, and now I'm about to close in on 20,000 subscribers just over about a year and a half later. So, that's interesting to people. And
Yeah.
I created my way of doing it. It may not be the perfect way to do it, but if I was able to get this amount of results, I at least can help somebody else. And so, things that I've been able to do, I'll create classes around. My mastermind is more so thinking through different strategies and tactics of how to leverage them and use our time more wisely. I love so many apps. There's some apps and social platforms I just don't use, but I think they're great. They just don't fit me. And so I just allow people to think about how they're using platforms rather than just going to use them because somebody said, go use this. You have to use this. Well, if you don't like being in front of the camera, this may not be the best place for you to be. If you don't like speaking audibly, you may not want to be on certain audible apps. So, helping people find what fits them and then just leveraging it. And then when you see what's working, just double down and keep on going.
Yeah, I watched, I think on your site, you kind of give a preview of what one of your classes look like, and I was watching that, and I think one of the points you were making to your students was think of how simple you can go with a video. Like if you're struggling for ideas, nothing is too simple, right? That you put out there
Hmm.
because there's always somebody looking for that information. There's always somebody that like doesn't know as much as you do. Even though you think it's simple, it's probably difficult for somebody else that's trying to learn. So what's like one of the when you're teaching students that are, trying to build their YouTube channel, or trying to get comfortable with video, what is like kind of the one of the bigger challenges, or most kind of common issues that people are coming to you with, or common questions? Because I know that for me, like it's so easy to make it difficult, and like it's so easy to like think that, I don't know, for me it was like I needed a certain amount of equipment to do this thing, or I needed
Hmm.
certain things before I made my video, or like going back to what we were just talking about, like, do I really know enough to create a video? It's like, should I, like you said, should I do something like a screen share to show people how to start a Periscope or something? So what kind of questions are like kind of most common, and why people are coming to you for help?
Yeah, it's technical stuff is definitely like the main reason they come to me. But when I start to talk to them, they quickly realize it's not the tech that's slowing them down. It's just more so the mindset of what they've heard from all these other voices that tell people what to do. You have to do it a certain way. If you don't do it this way, it won't grow. You have to create a sales funnel and a lead capture page and an email list and a text. And what happens is the person gets overwhelmed. So when they come to me and I'm like, you really don't have to do all of that right now. Let's take something basic and let's move it to the next step and let's move it to the next step. You don't need the $500 microphone. The $20 microphone will do. Chances are a person on the other end doesn't even know which microphone you're going to use anyway. And so I'm a techie telling them not to go out and buy tech stuff just to produce a video or, spend hundreds of dollars on a website, but they don't know how to get leads to the website. So putting things in the right order and just really breaking it down to its simplest level is what I think a lot of people that come to me appreciate about me because I don't talk in techie terms to them. Can I talk techie? Absolutely. But there's no point of me explaining XLR versus USB microphones if You just need a microphone to sound better. That's what you're looking for. So breaking it down where people just understand what is going on, not feeling overwhelmed, that's what they end up getting from me. They come to me for the tech issues, but they start leaving with, okay, this is not as hard as I'm making this out to be.
Yeah, that was kind of a trap I got myself in when I was just thinking about starting this podcast. It's like, what am I going to talk about?
Mhm.
I what kind of mic should I get? And then when I started streaming, it was like, oh, I can get caught up in like lighting. Like I love the colorful lights, and not that my setup is anything special right now, process of moving stuff around, but it's easy for me to be like, I need the cool stuff. And then it was like you said, you get overwhelmed, and then it's like it's we need to kind of take a step back and think about how the message we can send across to people, think about the
Mhm.
content. I saw actually, and it's clear that you kind of walk the walk too when you're teaching these things, because I was watching one of your YouTube videos on the your ATEM Mini Extreme, I think, and kind of
Okay.
one of your latest ones on how you everything that you have kind of attached to it. And I saw somebody commented kind of on your audio, and they said something like, "Oh, your audio is a little hot at
Yeah.
the beginning of each," and you were like, "Honestly, if I spent as much, if I focused on that, I would never like. I'm focused on getting the content out. I could
Yeah.
spend hours editing the audio and tweaking it, but really, it's about it's about just making good content, right?"
Yeah. And I tell people that like a lot of stuff is context. They have to understand the full context of situations like that. And I don't have the time to explain that I teach people this digital stuff and I'm always unplugging, replugging stuff back in, where I'm not going to sit there and fine tune my system just for this specific YouTube video. I would rather show people practical, like this is where this connection goes, this is how you connect it, versus I have a hot audio, but that video has 3,000 views and one person makes a comment, I'm gonna keep on going
Yeah.
because obviously it wasn't as important. Otherwise, 50 people, if 50 people make a comment, hey, audio, 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 then okay, it's something to pay attention to. But I would rather get the content out there to the people that I know want the content because they're more focused on the content and not some of the little minor issues. Your camera was crooked, your lighting wasn't quite right. Like the, our customer base, our clients, our followers, they are more concerned about the message than the little hiccups that go on sometimes. And I've been on webinars and been on watched interviews, and some of the things that happen during it, you just keep on watching, because you're just so like, I will wait until they get it right, and I will keep on watching, I will keep on listening. And that's kind of the way I think about it. Things happen, especially in this live streaming world,
Yes.
recorded video world, but the more content you put out there, your audience will show up and they'll forgive the mistakes.
And I want to switch to talking a little bit about streaming now. I mentioned I kind of began or kind of stumble upon your work on Instagram, on Amazon. And so when did you get into live streaming? Like, you mentioned you could do the tech behind it, but when did you start getting in front of the camera streaming?
Yeah, that's interesting. So when Periscope came out and I did the course, I had started live streaming, but I wasn't doing it for me yet. I was just doing it more so I'm going to teach people how to do it.
Hmm.
And then when Facebook Live came out, the only way you could go live to Facebook was from your smartphone at the time.
That's right.
But I was paying attention to one guy in particular. He was a techie and he was going live and showing his desktop on Facebook. And I was like, how is he doing this on Facebook? So the techie part of me kicked back in again. So I went from Periscope, how do you do this? Or let me do it, to Facebook, how do you do it? And I played a video of me being at a car rally, and it wasn't foreign for people to see me at a car rally, like a supercar rally, driving with cars and everything. And people were commenting, "How come you didn't let me know about this show? How come you didn't tell me about it? Where are you at?" But I was just playing a video of somebody else that I had downloaded. And so at that moment, I was like, "Oh man, people are actually interested in what I'm doing." And so it wasn't too long after that that I just started teaching people what I was doing and how I was just playing with the technology.
Hmm.
And it was tough at first because I was on camera. But what I found is once I talked about what I knew, I became more comfortable with it because I know what I know. You can't tell me otherwise. If I know how to connect this to this or this to that, I'm going to share with you how to do it, and I'm comfortable. I'm in my space because I was doing it every day for work, and that helped me get over like the fear of being on camera. But when I saw that people were taking interest in that video and they wanted to know what I was doing, I was like, okay, this is a little bit easier now. Now it's still a process, even now I don't like being on camera, but I know how effective video is, so I show up and I do it, because it is the fastest way to build that know, like, and trust factor. But once you speak about what you know, it becomes a lot easier.
Yes, that's so key. It's like, talk about things and also like have conversations with people. That
Yeah.
always helps to like have a guest. I found, in starting a podcast, it's like I don't have to do this by myself. Why don't I bring on, obviously a lot of podcasts are based on interviews, but I kept thinking of ideas in my head like, what am I going to talk about? But like
Mhm.
guests are a great way to, have a good or create some good content.
Yeah, like you don't have to think about it. You just like, let me come up with 5 questions, let me give them to them, and let me just let them go. Let them talk.
Yeah.
Because, some people like myself now, I got used to doing a podcast every once in a while. We like to talk. And if your guest is talking for 45 minutes and you talk for 15, they created all the content
Yeah.
for you, and you're constantly bringing in all these voices that people like to hear who your guests are, and it's a way for you to grow this library without trying to think of hours and hours and hours of what to say to people. And it's a great strategy to use for YouTube podcasts. People are doing
Mhm.
it on Amazon Live. They're interviewing other people on Amazon Live, and it's just one of the many ways to leverage these platforms.
So let's talk a little bit about Amazon Live. I mean, we were just chatting a little bit before we started this, and you were just kind of, I got the sense that you were enjoying it, enjoying Amazon Live. So talk a little bit about Amazon Live and how that's kind of, I don't know, necessarily changed your business, but like changed how you or changed your work, and just kind of what do you think of that platform overall?
Yeah, it's very interesting platform. I will say that. It's very underutilized. I would have thought that like some of these other platforms, there would be a mad rush to that platform because it's Amazon and it's live streaming, but it really isn't. So when you go on the platform, you'll see, maybe 15, 20 streams going on at one time right now. Which, when you think about how many lives are going on YouTube right now and how many are on Facebook and Instagram, thousands, countless of lives going on simultaneously. Where on Amazon Live, it's just a handful right now. And when I got on the platform, you learn, okay, I can talk about products and make commissions. So anybody that has an Amazon Associates account, you're probably already, providing referral links to products that you use and getting some type of commission. And this is more of that real time commission now. And it saves a step from people seeing you on another platform, then coming to Amazon, where now you're directly on Amazon, QVC style, HSN style. And the same way you stumbled upon me, if you find someone that's talking about a product that you're interested or you like, you may now stop and watch a video versus debating in your head, do I want to spend this money right now? Where if I start to show you to you and if I start to explain features to you and you were stuck on a question, you're getting that information in real time from someone and more likely to put it in your cart and check out. And when I started, it was right around Amazon Prime Day. It was a little bit before that.
Mm.
So you would see hundreds of people come onto your lives. And if you're a smaller influencer, you didn't see this amount of traction on any other platform. Like
Right.
if I go on Facebook Live right now, I might get a handful of people that show
Yeah.
up, literally. YouTube, get a handful of people. When I went on Amazon Live and you see 30, 40 people show up, you're like, hold on, no other platform people are showing up like this. And so I just began to double down on it. And then you have brands now and sponsors that are trying to talk to Amazon Live influencers to talk about their products because they know it's a great platform for their products. They're already on Amazon. Now they can have somebody talk to those products. My shelf directly behind me is full of YouTube and Amazon Live products, and
Wow.
it's pretty. I never thought that would happen real quick. A lady that I mentor and I coach, on her very first live stream, she had a company reach out to her, trying to, and she actually worked with them. And I think she's probably worked with, I don't know, close to 60 some different companies now since October of last year,
Wow.
of people and brands that want to reach consumers directly through this live streaming platform.
And that's something you focus on too in some of your classes, right? Is
Mhm.
helping people get in front of brands. And is it, I mean, I know it's not easy, but is it easier than people think?
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, yeah. Amazon Live right now, by far, hands down, the easiest. I literally, just before jumping on here with you, we do like a little group Zoom chat, just kind of hang out with the Amazon Live creators, other influencers. And a lady on there, she said that she hasn't started live streaming yet. I said, cool, trying to help you get started. And I was using the chair that I'm sitting in as an example of a sponsor had sent it over. And I told her I turn down a lot of deals if they don't fit in my category, if I just don't, if I don't need a product or per se, because stuff does take up space.
Yeah.
And she mentioned that she would love to get a new chair. So I told her I will CC you on this email so that the company can reach out to you, and I will tell them you are getting ready to get started on Amazon Live because I have less than 300 followers on Amazon Live.
Hmm.
But unlike other platforms where you can see the numerical subscribers, Amazon Live you can't. So when a brand reaches out to you, they don't know how long you've been streaming. They don't know how many followers that you have. So you really can command what you want. Free product. I want to get paid to talk about a product. And I know it's the easiest platform to have someone reach out to you, especially now that a lot of us are collaborating and communicating together because it's so easy to say, "Hey, I think this person would be a good fit for your company," and they will send over an email. I've done deals through Facebook Messenger, I've done them through email, and I've done them through Zoom.
That's really interesting. And I mean, I guess Amazon is just, it makes sense for stuff like that. I mean, that's where retailers are and they're
Yeah.
looking to get the word out about their product. That's interesting about your follower count that you mentioned. I find it's like, it's hard to figure out how to follow somebody on Amazon.
It is, and that's why I created this community because I thought there would have been one exist. It seemed like there's a community for everything out there, but I
Right.
literally would type in Amazon Live on YouTube, nothing would come up. Typed it in
Huh.
Facebook, nothing would come up. So I was like, let me just create a group and find other influencers, and we talk about different things like that because it is hard to get someone to click the follow button because you have to educate them where the follow button actually is. And so is it worth it to get followers or is it just worth it to talk about the products? And so those are things that we're
Mm.
constantly learning as this platform is growing and evolving. And it's one of those things again where we don't get stuck in little minute things like that or the audio
Yeah.
peaking. It's okay. Hey, how many people are clicking on these products? Are people actually enjoying being on our live streams? Because it's nice to talk to people in the comment section, in the real time chat. Give me your feedback. What do you guys want to see? And that helps drive the conversation. Again, not having to think so much when we're on live. What do I talk about? Well, if the audience wants to see the new keyboard and the mouse, well, I'll pick up the keyboard and I'll show them off the mouse and we'll talk about that for a little while.
Yes, I never thought that I would be so. I think I saw somebody on Amazon Live one time. Um, I think he was just like, and I mean, I know personally a person that does this now that they've kind of discovered how Amazon Live works and how engaging it can be. They'll just start working, like doing something else and just set up a couple cameras
Yep.
and go live on Amazon while they're doing their work and just say, "Hey, I'm here answering your questions if you want to talk about my setup or what I'm doing."
Yeah, it
I
sounds
love
like my
that.
guy Ryan. Sounds like my guy Ryan.
It may be. I'll have to go back and look, but yeah, he had this super cool setup. I mean, I mean, like extravagant,
Mm.
yeah, I think he was just kind of sitting there. He had a camera slowly moving around in the background, and every now and then somebody post a question, be like, "Oh yeah, this is," or like, "Hey, can I see this piece of equipment?" He'd be like, "Oh sure, I'll go get that for you," and
Yeah.
it's
And it's
pretty cool.
all different types of people, all different types of ways to do it. We have people in the fitness industry that are on there, people that are cooking on there. A buddy of mine, he plays video games on there. So, most people are on Twitch playing games, and
Yeah,
he's on Amazon playing games. And hey, what headphone set, what game, what console? You can link to all of these different products, and if people are clicking it, you're getting commission. I mean, it's amazing how many people, trust you. So, one of the things as an influencer, we do our best to make sure that we educate, as best we know how about certain products and things that we're using. And is it a good fit for you? I'm real quick to tell some people, hey, oh, don't buy this. This may be something else that works better for you, especially if they're engaging in that conversation because people do trust you. And so we do keep in mind that you have a brand and they may follow you on other platforms and want to know more about you. But there's a lot of different types of people on the platform and different ways to do it. We've had people ride their motorcycle, talk about products, car shows. I've seen people at the beach, outside. It's a fun platform to be able to just talk about the things that you have and even the things that you don't have. If you know about stuff, you don't have to own the product to talk about it
yeah.
on Amazon Live. And I think that's where a lot of people, when they first are trying to understand it, they think they have to own everything. And it's like, no, you don't. So it's just another reason to be on the platform. And you talk about it long enough, one of these companies will probably send it to you anyway.
It's so cool, and being a tech guy, and like you mentioned, you have like piles of equipment behind you that people are sending you. So, what is there any particular pieces of equipment you're really into, or stuff you're checking out these days that you're super impressed by?
Yeah, so I get a lot of microphones. So microphones at first they were something that I really liked receiving because as people were trying to learn how to live stream because everybody's stuck at home, you need cameras, you need lighting, you need microphones. And so I received a bunch of microphones from a bunch of different companies. So I really enjoyed testing out different ones because different shapes and sizes and price ranges. More so the video equipment that people send me, that's what I really like testing out too, because it's something that I actually can use, and those are the things I really like. There's some products that I receive, I don't necessarily use them in everyday life, but other products, more so I got actually this past week. It's a wireless video receiver. So I'm really excited to look and use that. And they range in prices too. I've received products as low as uh, $20. I've received products as much as $1,800. So it really is the gamut of what these companies want to have you feature on Amazon. And when they reach out, I kind of do my research. What else do they have? What do I like? And say, hey, would you mind providing this? I think my audience would really like it. Plus, I would really like it. And I also think about like the arbitrage system. There may be things I want to just resell or use as giveaways for my other platforms. So if somebody's really I'm about to hit 20,000 subscribers on YouTube, which is another milestone, and I can say, hey, I'm going to give away a product, and I don't have to buy the product. I can just kind of take something off the shelf that I know my audience would like, and that would be a giveaway that I can have. So more than just getting the product itself, you get compensated, and there's other ways that you can leverage the products that you receive as well. And yeah, less than 300 subscribers. I'm telling you, it's the easiest platform to start to build these relationships with
Yeah.
companies.
Now, you personally, do you have any kind of like guilty pleasures when it comes to equipment? Do you have like a stockpile of like things sitting somewhere just because you like to have it? Like me, like I mentioned, I'm so, I don't know if gullible is the right word, but like when like if I see a lightning deal on an LED color changing light, I'm like, oh, I'm gonna get that. But I don't need any extra lights, but I just get sucked in by that. Is there anything like that for you?
I haven't received them, but my guilty pleasure are cameras. I
Ah,
don't have enough cameras. I have 5 cameras and I still don't have enough cameras. So I like to be able to show people like the behind the scenes, especially when I'm
yeah.
demonstrating a product. So they definitely come in handy to be able to allow people to actually see the products. Like I had the vacuum robot, and it was on the floor, and you can't see it from just a traditional behind your desk view. So being able to, pan, tilt, and zoom the camera around definitely allows the audience to enjoy it. And I just love just multiple camera angles. I love how, watching TV and movies, I watch them different. I'm like, how many times did he cut, and different pan maneuver tricks and everything like that. But yeah, love cameras.
Okay. And what do you tell if you kind of provide this guidance to some of your students? Do you have like if they're thinking of like what equipment they should buy, is there like a first piece of equipment like you tell them they should upgrade? Like is it a camera, or should you get a good set of mics for audio? Because I can shoot good video on my phone if I'm just getting
Mhm.
started. So I don't know. What do you kind of provide guidance on stuff like that?
Yeah, and one of the first questions I ask people up front is budget, because I can provide a solution low cost to what people consider expensive. It really doesn't matter because I try to own at least something in every range. So I have a webcam that's just a basic webcam, and I have DSLR cameras. I have pan, tilt, and zoom cameras. So I have multiple tiered products for pretty much everything. Lighting is the same way. I've got small ring light to this big old softbox dome that's just huge, massive, and unnecessary in this environment. So giving referrals of products is easy. It's just understanding the budget people are working with, because you definitely want to consider audio first, because if people can't hear you, it's going to be a problem. Lighting can compensate a lot of what basic cameras can do for you. You can take a basic webcam. If you have really good lighting, you look incredible. And then, upgrading your camera, I have that as the third step, because they're typically the more expensive of the items that you would upgrade. And so by knowing kind of the framework of where a person's starting at, it definitely helps me provide them with a solution. I think that, obviously lasts them for more than 6 months too, because you don't want to
Mhm.
upgrade something and then you feel like, oh my gosh, I invested this amount of money, but now I need this next system or this next piece of equipment. But if you can get something that's kind of like the middle of the road for that tier, at least you can have it for a while and it still be in your production environment. Like my microphones that were sent to me, I'll use a $20 microphone in a minute just to show people, okay, this is what it sounds like. Do I sound bad? No, you sound okay. Okay, well, this is what you get with this microphone. Save your money and invest it in another piece of equipment that you may need, or invest it back in your business, or save it. You don't have to go get the nameless $400 or $500 microphone that we all want to sound good. You can still get the results you want with pretty much any piece of equipment that's on the market. You just knowing how to use it too is important as well.
Yeah, like you said, it's amazing what lighting. If you know how to light a shot, you may not need the best camera out there because
Hmm.
it'll look good with a Logitech webcam like that I'm using now. I guess one last thing I want to ask you, Monty, before we wrap this up. What we talked about Amazon Live, and I know you focus a lot with your some of your students on building YouTube channels and building that platform. What is kind of your focus, or kind of is there something you have your eyes on? Is kind of what's next for streaming, or video content? Like, is there any kind of specific thing you kind of have your focus or your sights set on going forward here in 2021?
Oh yeah, I like to be about 6 months to a year ahead when it comes to technology. That's the way I'm always looking at things. And I like to find resources that allow the everyday entrepreneur to compete with the big brands and the big boys, is what I like to say. So, artificial intelligence is what I'm heavily looking into now. Different software and platforms that allow for us to create copy for sales pages, or artificial intelligence that allows us to edit videos and give us clips of these videos so we can repurpose. Because I know that video editing is a long process and people get stuck there trying to create sales copy so that it sounds just right so people can sign up and buy your class. It takes a while to get that nailed down. And that's where a lot of people get stuck. But I know that AI is coming, it's already here, but it's something that will hit the masses. And I'll try to, introduce people to platforms I think that are really going to excel going forward. I was doing some other like digital marketing for companies before the world kind of shut down and budgets retracted. So I began to teach what I was doing, and I would just guide them to different things that I was using, different platforms that I was using, different softwares that I was using to make things easier. And AI is one of the things I'm heavy in now, and that type of stuff. People that are in close knit to me in my mastermind community, I'm like, hey, take this, hold on to this. I don't care if you don't tell nobody about it. Start using this so that you can get ahead. Because if I can give somebody that a competitive advantage in the marketplace, they're ahead. They're going to get the traction, and once they get the traction and start going, you really don't need me anymore because you're winning at that point. You might come and do some check-ins or something like that, but if people that are struggling, like, oh, I can't grow a following here, or I don't have time to create this here, there are tools out here now. There are all kinds of software tools out here that are really low budget. Some are even free. And AI is one of those ones that I think people should definitely keep an eye on as it's starting to roll out this year.
That's awesome. And yeah, you mentioned repurposing at the beginning of that answer. And that's like, that's such a huge deal if there is a software out there that can then, like take my 35, 40-minute live stream, take it and cut it into pieces for me so I can then upload that to social or on,
Hmm.
as a separate YouTube video later on. I would love that because, like you said, that stuff takes time. And when people are trying to start a business either by themselves or with a very small team, those areas where you can save that time, I'm sure, are so key.
Yeah, yeah, and because I try to remember, like, think most people aren't like us. Most people, even the people that are like us, we get stuck like trying
Yeah.
to edit videos. But if you're not in this space at all, and you're like, repurpose videos, how do I do that? Okay, I have to learn a software program, and what's the edit button, and what's export mean? And so I work with people like that where, I'm like, man, this is going to be a learning curve, and how can I shorten this learning curve for people? Because this is something they're going to have to do. Either they're going to spend money to have somebody else do it, or they're going to have to learn how to do it. So if they're going to have to learn how to do it, how can we make this easier, and faster so that they can get it done and not just get stuck in it?
Well, Monty, thank you so much for taking the time. Before we go, can you let folks know where they can find your work, where to look for you?
Yeah, YouTube is the best place. Monte Weaver on YouTube, and then the website Valet Media Mastermind. We hang out in there every single Thursday. We hang out in there. It could go from, I don't know, an hour to, we've gone 5 hours one time, just in
Wow.
there making sure that we have actionable steps going forward each and every week, so everybody in that group is progressing and growing and leveraging digital tech and social media.
Thank you so much, Monty. It was an absolute pleasure having you on. I really, really appreciate the time.
Appreciate you having me. Thank you, man.